Well,
So you generally are not in the Friday night crowd on Zoom.
no,
No.
no, I don't know. I just, Fridays, I think I just want to chill out, and
Yes, well, that's kind of like the dominant um, uh, way of doing things in our movement. It's Saturday morning is the focus of the Shabbat for the conservative movement.
Yeah.
Although Friday night is important and still happens, but
no,
we always have gotten a bigger crowd on Friday night. The Reform synagogues, Friday night is the Shabbat for them. That's their main focus.
Oh.
And Reform temples usually start services like after people have had dinner. It's 8:30 Shabbat service, which is a little bit strange because Kabbalat Shabbat means the welcoming of Shabbat,
so it
and
should be before,
and
right?
it should be at sunset.
Yeah.
We compromise and we just have all year round starting at 6:30. And that's the way it's always been since I've been there and probably before. I think that Victor liked that situation. And he also was more of, he wanted to make Saturday morning more of a focus.
Yeah, I think, I mean, when at my parents, on Friday night, they would always, light the candles and have a Shabbat dinner. So it was always in the house. It was not outside,
Yeah. Well, that's more common. Although every synagogue does have a service, and I suppose that is for people who want to have a minyan on Friday, the Ma'ariv service. So let's spend some time together. It's just you and me, I guess, for now. Okay. So I'm going to share the Siddur with you.
Okay.
And maybe you're going to start coming on Friday nights on Zoom.
Well,
probably not.
Well, I do come, when there's a musical Friday night.
Yes.
I'll come to some of those. But I don't know, for some reason, it's just it's a way of
don't feel bad. Just
a week.
Yeah, I would probably do the same, but I have to work on Friday.
Yes, I get it.
Well, there is the candle lighting, which is really the first thing. Which let's see, do we have it in this? It is in the Siddur somewhere.
But this is Lev Shalem, right? So.
This is Lev Shalem, yes. This is our Siddur. Yeah, this is the Psalms already. So I don't welcoming Shabbat Yedid Nefesh. Yedid Nefesh is a poem that is very, very popular to do on a Friday night. As you can see, it's quite old. It was written in the late 1500s. But one thing I can point out about Yedid Nefesh is that each paragraph starts with the first stanza. Every stanza, there are 4 stanzas, and the first letter in each stanza spells God's name. Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey. Yedid Nefesh, Hadur, Vatik, and Higale. So that's a very common device of the poets of the liturgy from that era. And there's a melody that goes with it. Yedid nefesh avarachaman. Yedid nefesh avarachaman. Mishuchavdach el ritzonah. Mishuchavdach la 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 la. El ritzonah. It's a lovely melody, kind of gets you in the mood for Shabbat. And there are different melodies as well. But what Kabbalat Shabbat is, it's the welcoming of Shabbat. So a lot of the liturgy comes before Shabbat actually happens. And leading into it are the Psalms for Friday night, leading into the service. And those are Psalms 95 through 99. And it's very joyous. And well, you've been to our Friday night Shabbats, and you know. But the first sentiment is, let us go and sing to Adonai, let us trumpet praise to our protector. And there are countless melodies for this. Could be just a beginning of the verse. Lechu neranena l'Adonai, Nareya Litzur Yishenu. And what's very common is to just begin the psalm and to end it. There's another nusach that is very popular that would be like this. Lechu neranena l'Adonai, Naria litzur yishenu. Nikarma vanav bitoda bizmirot nariyalu. And with that nusach, again, you just would be silent until the end of Psalm 95, which goes here, Arba'im, and this one ends in kind of a downer note. When it says, Arba'im shana akut bedor, for 40 years I was troubled by that generation. And I said, these are a people whose hearts have gone astray. They do not know my way. So in anger, I swore they would not enter my menucha, tea, rest. So interesting how that ends that way, but it's redeemed later. And then, you know, it would be kind of the same nusach to begin and end. Arba'im shana akut b'tor, va'omaram to'e levahem be'em, lo yadu derachai, asher nishbati v'yapi. Imivun el menuchati. We go on to the next psalm. It's just one in a row. It's five psalms. Psalm 95 through Psalm 99. And this one, yeah, I got a question.
No, this one I remember. Shiru ladonoi shirchad. Something like that, isn't it?
It is what we do is Shir Ladonai Shir Chadash, Shiru Ladonai Kol Haaretz, Shiru Ladonai Baruchu Shemo, Basru Miyom Yeshuato. Sapru vagoyim kevodo v'chol ha'amim nifleotav ki gadol Adonai Hulal meod, Norahu al kol Elohim. I die, 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 Was that the one you were thinking of?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, well, that's quite popular. That is all the Psalms that we're doing lately were written by Rabbi Shlomo Carlebach. Does that name mean something to you?
Yeah, yeah. No,
Sure.
only because Rabbi Glick mentions him as, being a friend of the families and having
Yes.
known him,
He's,
so yeah.
he is very important in certainly American and in world Jewry, because he kind of came to a new approach. He was sort of like a ragged. He was a Chassid, but he was guitar playing and kind of like the hippie spiritual Kabbalist.
Well, he came up through the 60s, right?
He came up in the 60s, exactly.
Right. So within that era, I could understand him, kind of getting that kind of, falling in with it, with what was happening at the time.
That spirit, right? Yeah. And so he really is credited with bringing a large portion of baby boomers who were kind of disaffected by Judaism, especially after the Holocaust. It's like, what do we need this for? And that's a very brief kind of summation, but he definitely appealed to a lot of baby boomers and hippie types, and he had a huge following, and he wrote great melodies that kind of are connected to the Hasidic side of things. So he was very successful and very important, and and while just you and me are talking, he did have some controversy in his life. Do you know about that?
No.
He was a bit of a womanizer, and he was called out on that only posthumously.
Yeah.
And so a lot of cantors and a lot of the Jewish professionals kind of have, what's this current word for that? Canceled.
Oh.
They kind of canceled him. However, at first, when the revelations came out, he was canceled in bigger numbers. But then people said, it's the music that's important.
Well, it's like I was listening to something on NPR the other day about a guy named Jacob Frank.
Oh, yes. I heard that too.
Was a messianic, person. Also, had a lot of sex.
Yes.
So it kind of comes with the territory, I think,
Good for him. I didn't listen till the end or do further research. And if I knew about him, I forgot. Well, he was not Jewish, though, was he?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't think so either. There was no.
I don't think so. I think it was more Christian.
Yeah, right. But there's a famous song in Psalm 96 also that you probably have heard, and I'm highlighting it now. Yismechu hashamayim I mean, this is great poetry. The heavens shall be glad and the earth rejoice.
Yeah, it's good. Yishmechu hashamayim.
That's it. Yismechu hashamayim. Yismechu hashamayim. V'tagel haaretz. It's not yishmechu, it's yismechu.
Yismechu.
And Morris, you can see in that word is simcha or sameach, which means joy, happiness. Yismechu hashamayim. So that's another great tune. I don't think that's a Carlebach, but you know, it might be. Okay, and then there's another psalm. We go to 97. Adonai malach, tagel haaretz, yismechu im rabim. Again, the word yismechu, that they will rejoice. And Psalm 95, 97, where this is all praise of God and a lot of shiru Adonai, sing to Adonai, very joyous after the downer of Psalm 95. And then look at 98, the last lyric, the last words are Simchu tzadikim Adonai. Rejoice in Adonai, you righteous people, tzadikim, which you definitely are. V'hodu lezecher kodsho, and to praise, pronounce your holy name, kodsho. Here's another psalm, Psalm 99. Shiru Adonai Shir Chadash, again, sing to Adonai a new song. This is something I've got for you. I've got a recording of this. This is the Shiru Adonai that they sing at Mishkan, and we sing it also. And you should be able to hear this.
Okay.
kind of in the same vein of the spirit of the folk song.
Yeah. Well,
I'm sorry, I'm having a little trouble here with my computer. It's all kinds of things are popping up.
well, you've sung this and Friday night services before.
Let's try to ignore that. So that's why we do those psalms. And there is one more psalm that goes out of sequence. That was Psalm 98. Okay, I think I'm okay now here. And then we have the last psalm. It's Psalm 29. For some reason, they go back to 29. And that's after 99. And here is Psalm 29. And the custom is to stand because we're greeting the Shabbat. And so we sing with this, we stand at this one. And you probably have heard this. Mizmor David. Next line. Avul Adonai b'nelim. Avul Adonai kavod va'oz. Avul Adonai kivod shemo. Ishtachavul Adonai bi'ad kodesh. Kol Adonai al hamayim el hakavod irim. Adonai al mayim, mayim rabim. Kol Adonai b'kohal. It's you can sing down, you can sing the whole thing, and it's very catchy and very inspiring, and you really makes you want to get up and dance.
Yeah.
So that's the Mizmor David, and then we get closer to actually Shabbat, and so this is the Lecha Dodi, which is again a Kabbalistic idea and poem to welcome the Shabbat, as you can see, written in the late 1500s. And Rabbi Glick likes to say that the faithful came out to the fields to greet Shabbat. It must have been very inspiring. And I've got some Lecha Dodis for you. First of all, this is a song in the Nusach by Cantor Moshe Ganchoff, who was born in Odessa, but came to the United States as a child. And I actually met Moshe Ganchoff. He was considered, people had this nickname for him. He was the Chazen's Chazen. And really, he lived to 1997. Yes, he lived to 1997. And he came to a Cantor's meeting in Chicago. The famous Cantor Mizrahi at Anshe Emet was a student of his, or I think he was a student, and they were friends. But he was from another generation completely. He was born in 1905. And so here is Ganchoff singing a very traditional Lecha Dodi. Are you hearing this well? Good. And it's with a male choir, very traditional.
Kabbalat Shabbat Service. Imekol Rabbeinu Merosh Mikedem Nesucho Soy Maser Machshavot Chilo.
I should have pointed out to you, that he in this recording he doesn't do the shamor. He went straight to Likrat Shabbat. He went straight to Likrat Shabbat. I'll start it again. Here we go. The second stanza.
מראש מקדם ניסוחו, סוי מעשר מחשבות תחילו, לכל הליך לקראת חלום, פני שבות לכל. מגרש מלך יהיה מלוכו, ומצהי מתוכתיך רב לך שמש וימי כבוכו איך יכול הולך מלוא לכל לקראת חלום פני שבות
There's one more.
I'm good. It seemed, definitely,
Go on.
he definitely is more, Ashkenazi sound.
That's absolutely right. That's true. All right. So of course there are thousands of ways to do Lecha Dodi, but that was kind of like the ultimate Ashkenazi or Orthodox style. And here is, if you remember the old days of the musical Shabbat, I used to do this melody, but this is by the composer of this. His name is Aaron Ben Susan, and he's been a cantor up in Toronto for most of his career, but he's born in Morocco. And so this is his Lecha Dodi. I had a chance to sing with him once, and I talked to him about this, and he said that he wrote this Lecha Dodi in 15 minutes. It's after he was in his career, it's just suddenly it came to him, and it's a very famous setting. So here is Ben Susian's Lecha Dodi.
Lecha Dodi, likrat kana, pnei Shabbat, Kabbalat.
It's really beautiful.
Yeah, but now it gets a little bit moving. The ultimate Sephardic setting.
Shabbat
a lot of modern Israeli music, it really picks up on this Oriental Arabic sound. He goes right away to this stanza.
Yeah, no,
So there's one way to do it.
yeah,
And then here's
I've heard you-
yet another way, which I've been doing lately. In part of it, I mean, you can do different verses in different styles, but I don't know if you've heard this one yet. This is a Lechadodi, which is also kind of Ashkenazi style, but it's very singable.
לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
Twice.
לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. שמעו וזכו בדיבורך תשמיענו, אל המיוחד אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ותפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה. סוף מעשה ומחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
This, they go to the fifth one.
התעוררי כי באורך, קומי אורי אורי אורי, שיר דברי כבוד אדוני, עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
And now the last one, where everyone rises to greet the bride.
גם בשמחה ובצהלה תוך אמונה עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
There you go.
yeah.
So that's a nice one. I like that one. I think it's easy and nice to get people singing.
It is a nice tune.
Yeah. Well, here's a tune you might remember. This is the last stanza, this Boi Chala. And often it's sung at weddings because it means the entrance of the bride. Boi Vishalom Ateret Bala. come in peace, crown of your spouse. It symbolizes the marriage between the Jewish people and God. Lecha dodi. And so the last lines are, come my bride, come my bride. Boi kala, boi kala. And you'll recognize this melody. It's kind of schmaltzy.
בואי בשלום, עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה. תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי, בואי כלה. בואי כלה, בואי כלה, בואי כלה, בואי כלה.
Hallelujah.
Of course, you recognize the tune.
Yes. Yeah.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
That's great.
Leonard Cohen.
Yeah. I was fortunate enough to see him in concert.
Oh, great. Speaking of baby boomers, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
When did you see him?
It was probably, I don't know, maybe, well, how long? He's been dead, what, 2 years, 3 years?
Oh, I think longer, more like
Longer?
5, maybe.
5?
More.
Well, it was
It was
when
towards
he
the
was-
end.
it was towards the end of his career. My mother-in-law loves him. And so she
great.
wrote a note to him
Uh-huh.
when he was playing in Chicago. So she was able to get tickets for us,
Wow.
because he responded to her, desire to see him. So we're able to go and see him. It was really, it was a great concert. It was really
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, well, his stuff is will be studied for forever. It's really deep, and I personally have not really delved in completely. I don't know all of his works, but every time I study something, I see how special he was.
Yeah, no, he's a pretty amazing guy.
Yeah.
But you are too. I mean,
Oh, thank you. That's
no,
great.
really. I mean, I really, enjoy listening to you and enjoy the services.
Thank
a lot.
you. Thank you. I was thinking of you. We were thinking of you. We were in Arizona, and we had a long drive in the early morning to get to the airport from Tucson. And we listened to a Fresh Air interview with Dave Grohl.
Dave Grohl. Let's see. I'm not sure.
Dave Grohl is, he was Nirvana.
Okay.
And I pretty much, he's not on my radar that much either. I know the name.
Mhm.
And he is considered a rock legend. And I think that Kurt Cobain was in his band, and he killed himself.
Yeah.
But he is like really musical. I'm surprised. I thought that you would know who that was, because he described his the way that he got into rock and roll. He was a drummer. He's also a guitar player, but he started in Nirvana as a drummer. And I thought of your son because he talked about touring, and his music is very, very kind of heavy metal, which I don't know, is that the category that?
Oh, Sam plays?
Yeah.
Yeah, he plays heavy metal. I mean, that is his cat, or it's, I don't know, it's called heavy metal or death metal, or
Yeah.
So that's kind of, yeah.
Oh, well, if you ever listen to archives of Fresh Air, listen to that Dave Grohl interview. It's
Dave Grohl. I think I may have heard part of that. But I'll
But
mention.
he talks about, that he tours, that he was with, before he was in Nirvana, before he was successful, he was touring clubs all over the country, and that they had a van, and that they stayed in, really, it was like really not easy, dedicated kind of thing. And so anyway, we thought of you.
Because it's kind of like, I don't know if you familiar with Frank Zappa, with he had, I don't know if he did a movie, or I think it was a movie, 200 Hotels.
Yes, I know about that. Theodore Bickel is in it.
Yeah. So I mean, he,
Yeah,
they all lived through that, I think.
yeah. Well, the Beatles too.
Yeah.
The Beatles too. They didn't have big gigs, and they had a van, and they were sitting. They were together.
Yeah.
And in close quarters. Let's get back to the Friday night.
Okay.
Well, what happens after Lecha Dodi is that the formal Mariv service begins, and in the Siddur there is a section of study, which we don't do at our synagogue, and I think only really Orthodox synagogues do this part. And like the morning minyan has something like this too. It concludes with the mourner's Kaddish, and it's got these laws about entering Shabbat. It's things that are studied. It's a little like a study section, and then no surprise, this section ends with a Kaddish. And which Kaddish is it? It's Kaddish de Rabbanan. It's the Kaddish that is said after a lesson.
Yeah.
And you're familiar with that from the morning service.
Well, we say that every morning after, except on Sundays. So.
Right. Well, if there's ever like a little Devar Torah after,
right.
then we've got the section with Al Yisrael, Rabbanan, the Al Talmidei Chacham, etc., etc.
Right.
Anyway, we finally get to Baruch Hu, which is the call to prayer, and it's Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. So then there are two brachas before Shema, and the first one is about thanking God who distinguishes night from day. And then the second bracha is Ahavat Olam, talking about the love that God has for us. Ahavat Olam. And then in the middle is Shema, which every service has. Shema has three, it's like the most essential words of Judaism. And then it's connected with 3 paragraphs, V'ahavta, and then V'haya im Shemoa, with that you should follow these mitzvot. And the third section is Vayomer Adonai, which in the pandemic time we've shortened it, but this is because in the evening you don't wear a talit, you don't do the ritual of kissing the tzitzit, but you do say the words, and these are where we get the customs of tzitzit and mezuzah to put on your gates and in your home.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
On Shabbat, you usually don't, I think I remember at some time you did used to sing this, but now you do the,
I shortened it.
Oh,
I do, yeah.
did you shorten it?
Well, back in the day, even in Merleman's time,
yeah,
and even starting with Rabbi Glick, we always did the Ahavta, and
right,
then we were silent.
right,
No, or the president of the congregation would read this whole thing. If you will hear and obey my mitzvot that I command you this day to love and serve Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, right? Sound familiar?
yeah,
But a lot of people,
yeah,
they don't want to hear them say, they don't want to hear God telling us that if you don't do this, I will hold back the rain and your cattle will die, and
right,
take care, let your heart be tempted, that you do not stray and serve other gods and bow to them. God's anger will flare up against you. Those in the know can comprehend that,
yeah.
but I think that we've kind of decided we don't need to say that. What do you think?
Well, I think you're right. We're stiff-necked people, no, we don't like to be told what to do. So,
Yeah. So one way to kind of, instead of making it so totally empty, I had the inspiration to take the melody of the blessings of the Torah, because these are from Torah, Deuteronomy,
right,
and Numbers. So I had the inspiration to do the English, the part that doesn't kind of rub us wrong, in the melody of the blessing. Baruch hu et Adonai hamborach. Impress these words of mine upon your heart and upon your soul. Bind them as a sign upon your hand. So if you didn't make that connection, that's what I'm doing there.
Yeah.
And then just silent, and I say, Vayomer Adonai el Moshe lemor, that this is what God said to Moses as follows. And then I finish that up.
right,
And then there are two more brachot before we go into the next section, which is the Amidah. And so the next two brachot are the one that we immortalize God taking us out of Egypt, whereas the Mi Chamocha, which is done right before the Amidah. And the melody I like to sing, it says that Moses and Miriam sang at that time when God gave us the commandments, Mi Chamocha. And a joyful melody I like to do is Zai vai vai bim bim bam, Yava vai vai bim bam, Mi Chamocha bailim Adonai, Mi Kamocha nedar b'kodesh, Norati lo tosef ele, Norati lo tosef ele, Ay vai bim bim bam, yaba vai bim bam. And then there's one more bracha after the Shema. So two before, two after, and it's the Hashkivenu. Hashkivenu is one of the most tender, peaceful brachot that we have. It's shelter us in your wings, God. Allow us to sleep peacefully. Awaken us to life, O Sovereign. And it's inspired many nice melodies, including this one by a modern one by Craig Taubman. And we do this on our musical Shabbats.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom V'hamidenu malkeinu lechayim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים.
He goes to towards the end here, Ki El Shomrim.
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים. ושמור צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ושלום מעתה ועד עולם.
Kind of a cool jazz version, huh? I like it though.
Yeah, it's very nice. Lovely.
So after the Hashkivenu, then we have Vishamru, which is also from the Torah. This is where we get the main commandment to observe Shabbat. Shamor means to observe. Vishamru, but V'nei Yisrael, the children of Israel, shall observe Shabbat, HaShabbat. And we use a couple of different melodies. The one that we're doing mostly is the Carlbach. Vishameru V'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat Lasot et HaShabbat Lidorotam Berit Olam Beini uvein bnei Yisrael Oti leolam Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai Et hashamayim v'et haaretz. And on the seventh day, God ceased from work and rested. Uvayom hashvi'i. On the first 6 days, he worked and created the world, and on the seventh day, he rested. So that's why we rest. Then there's a Kaddish. The Kaddish is just a marker in between services. And Friday night is always done silently, a silent Amidah. And in the synagogue, if you're doing your service in the synagogue, it's almost always concluding with the Kiddush for Shabbat. And the Kiddush for Shabbat, let's find it. And I have a version of it, which is the most recognized version of it. It's by Louis Lewandowski. Let me find it. Kaddish Shalem. There we go. The Kiddush for Shabbat. And Kiddush is if you're just during the week you make the blessing over wine, you say Borei Peri Hagafen. But on a special occasion such as Shabbat or a festival, there's a longer Shabbat, there's a longer Kiddush, and the wording is different depending on the day. Like the Kiddush for Rosh Hashanah evening is different than this Kiddush. And depending on the occasion. So we sanctify Shabbat with wine as a symbol of joy. And this is the version that what we sing, but it was originally written by Louis Lewandowski, who was very crucial in Jewish liturgical music in the Enlightenment period. He wrote in the middle 1800s, and he was a cantor and composer in Berlin. And during the Enlightenment era, and he was inspired, and his music is very much like Felix Mendelssohn, great classical composer. Let's listen to this version appropriately. This version is sung by a Holocaust survivor who after the war was the chief, kind of like the chief cantor in Berlin. And in actually singing, he was an Auschwitz survivor, born in Greece, but his life was spared because his voice pleased the SS guards, who particularly enjoyed his rendering of O Solo Mio. And his family was all sent to Auschwitz after the Nazis took control of northern Greece, where his name is Ostrongo Nachama. But his family perished. But he survived and used his voice, became a cantor in Berlin. Let's listen to the Kiddush for Shabbat. Fruit of the vine. This is the part everybody knows. almost church-like, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, very much.
Uh-huh.
He has a
But,
beautiful voice.
excellent, excellent. And you can hear that the classical elements of it, like Felix Mendelssohn. But I think it's endured because it can be sung by everybody. Kivanu v'acharta v'yotanu kidashta mikohamim. Doesn't have to be so soloistic. It's kind of sing along. If you have a minute, I got one more thing, because the traditional closing of course, there's Aleinu, which is nothing new there. That's something that we do at every service, the Aleinu, the Mourner's Kaddish, and then the traditional closer of Friday night is Yigdal, the 13 attributes, articles of faith. And I'm going to bring Ben Susian back because I had a chance to make a video with him once of Yigdal, and he on the stop share on the video he.
Let me take a bathroom break. I'll be right back. Okay.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Good.
Okay.
What a relief it is.
Thank you.
All right, so this is Yigdal, the 13 attributes of faith.
Yeah.
That's Aaron Ben Susi, and he teaches at the theological seminary. Besides being a cantor in charge.
Which seminary?
Huh?
Which seminary?
A theological seminary.
Oh.
I show this? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, well, sorry, I forgot.
Don't be sorry. I love it, you know?
Nice.
Yeah.
So I think he did the oud first and the singing, and then he listened to himself and he did the drumming.
Hmm.
And then I added my voice to it. So that
Nice.
was a nice experience to meet him and talk to him.
Does he do just religious music?
Yeah. Yeah. He's I think he's like retiring his Cantor, but he does concerts. He does concerts, but of religious music. Yeah.
I'm going to send you a link if I find it. I have a CD of a guy, a Canadian. He does like a jazz, but it sounds very much like this. I don't know, because he plays the oud,
Oh, great.
but he sounds very much like this, and I think you'd enjoy listening to him. So I'll send it to you when I find his name. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but
It's okay. I guess there isn't a rush then.
okay.
Terrific. Morris, good being with you again.
Well, same here. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Okay, great. All
Enjoy
right.
it.
Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
You have a good week. All right. Okay.